Good morning, Celtic fans, and welcome back to the channel. What day is this? The 29th of June already. What a month June has been. If somebody had told us that it would be such a crazy month at the start of the season, we would have probably said, yeah, it will be due to the fact of the transfers that we're bringing in. But you have to remember we had the Scottish Cup final, which we won. We did. We won that. We need to remember that, which made us treble history winners. And then obviously a couple of hours later, Ange Postecoglou left the building, and then it's just been a crazy month since then. It's going to be even crazier because the King is about to walk through the door at Celtic Park. Make sure you stick around because there's a brand new transfer speculation that I'm not even going to say his full name, but the King could be ready to enter the building at Celtic Park. Obviously Celtic have done the deal for Marco Tillo. He will be paraded shortly at Celtic Park. And Neil Lennon has also been talking about Celtic. He's been in the papers down south again and then on the Mail Online, and he's been talking about Celtic, everything Celtic. So let's get back to the big story. The big story is that we are coming to the end of the month, and we've made a couple of signings that have been not too bad. But Neil Lennon's been talking about one player that could be leaving Celtic. It's been speculated that he could be leaving Celtic, although we'll very much doubt it now. Neil Lennon insists that there's no way Celtic goal machine Kyogo could replace Harry Kane at Tottenham. He says before the Japanese striker could fill Captain Kane's boots, if he does leave for Bayern Munich this summer, the former Hoots gaffer said he questioned whether the prolific Kyogo would be good enough to cut it in North London. Even though he scored 34 goals at Celtic last year and we recorded a record 8th treble, he still says that he doesn't think he would be able to cut it at that level. Tell me your thoughts on that. It's funny how Neil Lennon, he must be the only Celtic manager that has so much airtime to talk about the club. I mean, everybody has their own thoughts on Neil Lennon, but there's always a golden rule that managers tend not to speak about their former club, but Neil Lennon does seem to do it a lot. He went on to say, he says, I have my doubts, yes. I don't think for 1 minute that he could replace Harry Kane if that was to be the case. Wow, that's a big statement from Lenny. Right, let's get to the big news, is obviously the fact that Marco Tillo is getting ready to enter the door at Celtic Park, and I'm going to talk a little bit about him. Obviously, he's a young player. He was actually at the World Cup also with Aaron Moy back in 2022 last year. He scored 10 goals last season. He had 5 assists also before reaching the grand final, but they lost that to Central Coast Mariners. So I know there's quite a lot of people from Australia watch the channel. Tell us a bit more about Marco Tillo in the comments. It'd be great to get your thoughts on that. But the big breaking news is Celtic could be about to make a third signing of the season, and the King could be ready to enter the building. Yes, Red Star Belgrade midfield player. Now, he does play in the position that we are looking for, and he's a 24-year-old, which kind of fits all the bill. King's Kangwa has broken his transfer silence amid Celtic interest. The Red Star Belgrade player is looking to move on this summer, but the speculation linking him away from Red Star Belgrade has made him come out. Celtic have been credited with an interest for him, and I'm going to give you some stats on the player. He has come out and said that Nottingham Forest have been in there and made a potential move for 2.6 million for the 24-year-old player. But his agents come out and said that Celtic are also looking at the Zambian. I'll give you some stats on the player first of all. So, Kings is 24-year-old, born in 1999 from Zambia. His position is central midfield player. He had 26 appearances last season. He had 6 goals and 2 assists. So it is a position that Celtic have been talking about. And for a player that's valued just over the 2 million mark, it is in a bracket that Celtic could potentially go out and snap the player up. He is contracted at Red Star Belgrade until June the 30th, 2026. So it is a couple of years left on his contract, but the fact that they are thinking about selling him, it looks as if it could be a player that could give us that little bit of excitement. The fact that he has come out and said that he ultimately one day wants to play in the English Premiership. that's when Celtic come knocking on your door, because we know that we like to sell players to the English Premiership. So could Kangwa be the next Celtic signing? Tell me your thoughts on that. I've only got the details that have come through, but I think he looks an exciting player, and it is a position. This is why I'm going with this story, because it is a position. He plays central midfield, attacking midfield, and he can also play on the right of a midfield. So he does fill that position that Celtic have been looking at. Marco Tillo is about to enter the building. It's a big call for Neil Lennon to say that he doubts that Kyogo could play at the highest level. Lenny, although he scored 34 goals, I think he could. I think Andris Postecoglou also thinks he could. Let's see if there's any other Celtic news. Tillo deal is meant to be confirmed by Celtic within the next 48 hours, which generally means it'll probably be Friday afternoon. You know, Celtic like their little Friday afternoon announcements. There's not a lot else going around, but this Kings one has got a bit of arms and legs about it. The fact that we've got Odin in the door already, he looks a good prospect. It looks like we are getting a few prospects in the door, and the reason that Celtic, we've done that in the past. You get players in who could long term replace players that were obviously might leave the building this summer, but we never know what's going to happen just yet. It is getting to that time of the week where we're getting closer to the Sunday Live. I might do a Friday Live, but then I'm not sure. But we'll definitely be doing the Sunday Live. So make sure that you have subscribed to the channel for the Sunday Night Live, because that's where you get to have your say, and we get as many of the comments on the channel and get you on live with your comments. So make sure that you have subscribed to that. On that note, tell me what you think about King's Kangwa, and tell me what you think about the Marco Tillo one. If you're in Australia, there is a lot of Australians people watch the channel. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you can tell us what we can expect from Marco as he gets ready to enter the building. So on that note, make sure you have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.